I want to talk about getting your life together in all areas for anybody who is watching. And
Right.
obviously, we're all going through something,
Right.
whether as a business owner, whether as somebody that's like, I don't have life insurance, whether you don't have enough savings, you got student loans that are on pause, you waiting on your
Right.
stimulus check, you already saved it, spent it, do you invest it? So many things to discuss, and I could
Right.
only do it with Jini.
Right. I'm gonna have to cross my legs and get comfortable for this one. Hold on.
Me too. Me too.
Hold on. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So, first things first, everybody's waiting on a stimulus. There are some people that are going back to work right now. There are some that are furloughed, laid off. Like, Jenna,
Right.
what is going on? And who was ready for this? Who was ready?
Oh man. You know who Grant Cardone is?
Yes.
Okay. So he had this post on Instagram a few weeks ago when he said, I'm paraphrasing obviously, and he basically it said something about if you weren't disciplined before, you will be now. And I was like, wow, that's really powerful because, normally we're all kind of finessing, doing our own thing. And now when the entire world almost stops, it's like now that finessing, now you know exactly where you were finessing. Now,
Yes.
now you know exactly your lack of discipline in certain areas has truly risen up now. And a lot of us are we're reaping what we sowed,
Yes.
or we're not reaping what we did not sow either. So I just think this is a real interesting time for us all financially and personally, because it is making you really stop. Like you can't run and hide right. You can't just keep shifting and moving, doing what you've been doing, making a little money over here. Like now it's like, okay, now what we doing? Like, what are your priorities for real? Like, what we going out? Because this is separating the men from the boys.
I know that people hear you as this business manager who
Right,
you have it all together,
right.
but you're going through it the same way that I'm going through it. Really, like as a business owner, as it just anybody, period. The
Yes.
radio industry is affected, just all the way around. We've been affected, but just for everybody that's watching who is trying to, because obviously people are dealing with it at different levels.
Right, for
Not
sure.
everybody has lost their jobs. Not everybody
Right,
is, in a terrible financial situation, but just across the board,
right.
as we are here right now, just what are some things that you would say we need to learn from this or we should have been ready for before this happened?
Right. My thing is right now is don't run from it. Don't run from the financial part of it because see, we're all having to sit down to deal with some things that we have either completely avoided or we've just half done it. You know what I mean? Again, all that shifting and moving. So now is the time to say, okay, I know I have not done what I'm supposed to do. And everyone's list is going to look different.
Right.
That could be from, not being good or intentional about saving. That could be not, a lot of people hate the word budget. You don't know exactly what's coming in or going out. That's what budget means. You don't have any commitments. A lot of people, again, money coming in, going out, having no idea what's going on.
So let's go through it then. Now I don't want to keep you for hours and hours, but I just kind of
Right.
want to go through the list just so we can touch on everything because
Right.
we literally do this on the show to where we talk about all kind of stuff: student loans, credit
Right.
cards, buying homes, cars, all of that. So I'm just gonna say something and let's just go down the list just so I'm touching on it all. So let's talk about budget.
Okay. All that means is budget means commitment.
Okay.
That's all that means. So all that means is I know what's coming in and I know what's going out, and I am going to stay within the commitments that I've made. That's
Okay.
all that means.
Okay.
So I have an awareness. I am paying attention. That's all budget means.
Okay.
So you have to know what you expect to come in, and then what's going out. You have to know what is going out, business or personal wise, because other than that, You just, you out here on the treadmill,
Right.
just doing whatever you're doing. And then that way you can say, because when you start paying attention, then you'll be like, dang, why does that cost so much? Oh man, I'm really winning over here. How can I get rid of this? How can I downsize this? And see, people now are definitely going through those exercises right now for
Right.
sure.
Right. So
I don't care if it's you talking about cable
right.
or reviewing your car insurance. Like people are going through it right now. But again, think about budget literally as it is nothing but a commitment. And I need people to really just have a set time when they're looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look at it occasionally. Are you doing it every Tuesday? Are you doing it every Monday? Like, what is your commitment to knowing what's coming in and going out? Because that awareness is
Everything. So let's talk about savings. How much
okay.
should you have?
How much what?
How much
Should
savings
you?
should you have?
Should you have? I think that's relative to who you are and what brings you peace and comfort.
Okay.
Okay. And so, what's interesting is, when you think about times in America where we've had some very challenging economic times, someone was, comparing what we're going through now, essentially to like the Great Depression. But from the Depression, Social Security was born out of a depression. And so, because they knew over half of our older Americans were living in poverty. And so they were like, oh my God, we got to do something about this. And here, Social Security was born from that. And so now I think savings will be born. So if you've ever spent time around some of your older relatives who were alive during that time, I understand why my grandfather was tight. He was amazing with some money
My
because he had
grandma
been
was
through that.
stashing money in the house. It was thousands of dollars.
Exactly. But see, that was all born out of a time like this
Right. Right.
because they knew how tough things could be. And so, what I'm hoping is going to happen from this, Crystal, is we're going to have people now who will have more of a commitment to saving because, at any moment it could be going down.
Right.
This is what going down looks like,
Right.
is this pandemic that we're in. And so, we have to have a commitment that every time we get paid, that we are saving a certain percentage of that.
What would you
And
recommend the percentage? Is that still relative to who you are, or is this a standard
I think
across the board?
whatever's going to take you to start to get in the game. Right?
Okay.
If you can only save 2% of whenever you get paid, or if you're like, you know what, Janai, I'm doing good, I can save 10%. But you have got to build that muscle and you got to do it. And then the amount that you want, before people would say, oh, all you need is 3 to 6 months. Well, tell that to somebody who is not going back to work in more than 6 months right now.
Right.
So would it be amazing to have 6 months of savings? Because my thing is, your savings should give you a certain level of peace. How do you feel? So if you say, you know what, I would feel great if I could go X amount of time without working.
Right.
And that's how I personally equate it. I'm like, okay, if something happened to me, I couldn't work, something happened, I have how much runway? And depending on what that number is, that says, okay, I'm cool, or like, wait a minute, I got to get to work right now. And so but I think growing up around people who were really, really, really conservative with money made it okay for me to be conservative with money too. Because even like when I started my business, which is funny, I started my business in the house next door to the house.
Oh, wow.
Literally, like right over there, and my kids live over there. But once I started doing really, really good, we stayed in that house 5 more years. Like we could have been moved. But I'm like, you know what? We're not going nowhere. Because those 5 years literally set the tone for where we are today, because it costs no disrespect to Walmart. I could have been a cashier at Walmart and paid the bills at my house. But we were making really, really good money and we were just saving it. And so that gave me peace. So when my kids were getting ready to go to college, I had money in their 529.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I could do, when I had family that needed help, I had money for that. So I really just put myself in a position, money is really to give you flexibility, but we get so much pleasure out of spending it. Like, you got to get just as much pleasure out of saving. So again, not to dance around. There's no magic number, because your budget is different than my budget. So you need to save enough for you to say, okay, what gives me peace? I need to have 3 months saved, 6 months, 12 months. And I think working in the entertainment industry, which was always these highs and lows, working with talent, you have someone put out an album, sell a bajillion records, and next year it's over.
Nothing.
And
They're done.
done. No one even cares that they're not coming out. And working in that industry also made me be conservative.
Okay.
Because I always felt like we were like feast or famine.
Right.
We'd be killing it, and then you look up and it's just like, what you mean they're not gonna put out another record? Like, what are we talking about? That made me be conservative, because I'm like, I don't know what these people are out here doing. I don't know what these fans are thinking about. These kids have moved on to the next fill in the blank artist. I'm like, that I am not gonna be impacted by that. So that just always allowed me to say, but I promise you, after all of this, I promise you people are going to save more than they ever have before. And they're going to be at peace with it. They're not going to feel deprived.
Right.
That's why people don't save, because they're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. What we're saying is, you can, but you got to take care of what you got to take care of first. Pay your bills, save, whatever your belief is about giving or tithing, but you have to save like it is a bill. I promise you, when you do that, then you'll have some flexibility. So it doesn't have to be a pandemic. You can get sick. You can break your leg and you can't go to work. You don't want to be able to pay your bills. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we flowing now. So I'm glad you
Okay.
said
Keep it going, girl. Keep it going.
We're getting it. We're getting all our financial life together today. So you said a 529. I want you to explain what that is. Let's talk about education from all the levels, because we've talked about getting money back if you're a student. We've talked about student loans, which
Right. Ooh, Jesus.
You know how I feel about the student loans. And of course, we got people out here thinking that, the Democrats are going to wipe them away. Now that they're frozen a little bit, we have saving for college, because right now, if you couldn't save normally, can you save for your 529? So I know that's pretty loaded, but from education on all levels, let's just discuss that.
And I'm going to really take it from the perspective of a parent who's already put 2 children through college. And I know a lot of parents are going to be offended by what I'm going to say, and that's okay. But you have to put yourself before your child's education. And I know for a lot of parents, it's like, what? Wait a minute, that's about parenting. This is what we do. It's our job to sacrifice and leverage everything we have and borrow, steal. Like, parents will do whatever to make sure that their children are straight, particularly mothers. We get mothers that call the William Moore Jr. Show all the time, just trying to do whatever they can do to get their babies in school, through school, out of school. I mean, leveraging everything. And as a parent, I'm telling you, that is not y'all's education. That's not y'all's degree. That's their degree. And so you have to save for your own retirement before you even save to put your children through school. Because there is no financial aid, there's no Pell Grant, there is no student loan for retirement. It doesn't exist. There are lots of ways to pay for college. And so I need parents to be okay with that. And I need parents to be okay. See, that shift, this pandemic is going to make that shift happen a whole lot easier right now. So I'm concerned about what it's going to do to a lot of schools, particularly our HBCUs. But a lot of parents are going to make decisions simply based on economics right now. Like, we can't afford to do that. Like, that ain't going to work.
I heard, and I'm glad, because we haven't talked about this yet. heard an interview, really, really dope, with Anthony O'Neill, who I'm also interviewing. And he was talking to Mark Cuban,
Uh-huh.
which we know got a whole lot of money.
Right.
And Mark said, listen, I would hire somebody in a heartbeat that went to a community college, because what you're telling me is you were smart enough to not go into debt to get the same
Right.
education that you could have got from a community college. And when he said that, I was like, obviously I advocate for us not getting into student loan debt, because
Right.
I was the one that said, I don't mind
Right.
if you spend $100,000. Sign me up, because if I'm gonna be famous, let me just
Right.
get up in Clark and do my thing. And it's like, no, no. So when I heard that, I loved it. And
Right.
what you said too, it stings. Don't nobody want to hear that, Janai. Parents don't want. We've had parents call us to say, I am going to get a second mortgage on my house and send my child
Don't do it.
in. I'm going to do
No.
this. And whether it's a parent listening right now, or whether you are about to go to college, please do not do this to yourself.
College is an economic decision. It is an economic decision. And even with my kids, I always tell my kids, I'm not paying for you to go to school. I'm not paying for you to go to school. Like, no one paid for me to go to school. I had to figure it out. And although I came from a family that believed in education, I'm like third generation college in my family. Like, okay, we all got ours. Boo, you better get yours. So what you gonna do so you can get some scholarships and make it happen? And so what my kids is, my oldest son got an academic scholarship, and my youngest son got an athletic scholarship. But my oldest son, my husband hates when I tell the story, but I tell it as often as I can, lost his scholarship, and we pulled him out of school. Like, not my problem. Like, that's not our deal. We have an arrangement here. That boy came home, worked 2 full-time jobs, figured out how to get back into A&T. He and I both went to A&T, and he ended up having to get a student loan. I'm like, not my problem. And I never told my kids I had saved money for them in the 529. They never knew that. Never ever told them, because I did not want anybody chilling.
Since I've heard this story, I don't think I've ever asked you, why didn't you just tell them, like, I got money saved?
No, because I did not want them to be like, okay, I'm good. Like, no, boo, you're not good. You're not good. Like, that was their money for school, but that was my money that I put there. And I needed to know that they were doing the heavy lifting, to make sure that it happened. So again, one went the academic route. When he got off track, came home, figured out how to get back into school. And he did. He had to get a student loan to finish up. I think he graduated maybe about 24,000-ish in student loans, I think. And then my youngest son, Cameron, he had an athletic scholarship. That boy graduated with zero debt. Chilling. But he knew, he probably could tell you at 4, my mother is not paying for me to go to college, because I'm like, that is not my responsibility to do that. There are too many ways to get money for school. There are way, way, way too many ways. I come from a family of educators. Like my mom was a single parent. Like, boo, like, what you gonna do? Like, how we gonna make this happen? So it made me step up. It made me get scholarship money.
And I think whether you agree with that or not, it builds, for people listening, it builds discipline in the child to know,
oh yeah,
I'm not about my business. Mom is not going to. And listen, my mom is not like that. She was there to say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I appreciate and love her for that. But it does build something else in you when you're like, mama is not going to do it.
She is not. And it has nothing to do with love. And that's where parents get messed up, when mothers get offended when I say that. I love my children. You know what I mean? But I was not willing to put my children in a position to have debt, or for myself to be in debt. Because if I had $1,000 for every time a mother has called, because now she's co-signed on these student loans, now she can't retire, she can't buy a house, she can't refinance, she can't. If I had $1,000 for every one of those phone calls, we've gotten to the William Jubilee show, y'all could not find me with a search warrant. I would be gone.
On the island somewhere.
Gone. I could probably buy the island. because literally that's how much of a problem that this is. And if we don't understand, these 4 years are impacting parents from retiring.
Yeah.
It's creating stress between parents and their children. It's not worth that. It's not worth that. And then, like I said, I'm frustrated. Parents are always calling me, but I'm like, where's your son or daughter at? They're not even on the phone. I'm not even talking to you until this kid is calling me because they're trying to figure it out because this is so important to them. This is their education. My degree says Jani Davis, not Jani Davis and Beverly Davis.
Right.
It ain't never said that. So, parents, put your own mask on first, say for your own retirement first, period.
Period. So we can
Yeah.
move right on. We
Yeah.
doing the thing, Janai.
Ooh, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about anything with a percentage rate attached to it. Home buying, credit cards, cars, all of that stuff. Should we be refinancing right now? Should we be buying a house, preparing to buy a house? Oh, I need me a new car. Wait, let me not get it. My credit cards are a little maxed out. Should I call
Right.
them? Like, what are we doing with all this stuff with these percentage rates going down?
Um, it depends upon who you are and what you got going on. So let's take them one by one by one. Credit card debt. It's an amazing time to call and see if you can get a lower interest rate now. You'd be crazy not to do that. Like why wouldn't you do that? It's a great time now to figure out if you're still working, if you still have consistent income, now to finally make a commitment to get those things paid off. Because what a blessing it is to have that extra room as a backup. You know what I mean? So that's all that is. Credit, that's what credit was really designed for, to help us in times when we just needed just a little bit of support versus this is how we live our life.
Right.
So that's for credit cards. For cars, they are super, super, super cheap right now. Financing options are amazing. If you have job security and you need a car and you need one, it's a really, really good time to get one. But if you're like, you know what? I just can't imagine that they're not going to get a little cheaper though. So if you can hold out, I would definitely hold out because again, you have to be okay putting yourself in any debt right now. Because see, that's the problem. None of us know how long we're going to be here. We got 3 more months. We got 6 more months. Like, how much longer are we kind of doing
Right.
this?
Because you just
8
said too,
more
like I
months?
could be messed up next year too. So
Absolutely. And I think we'd be better off taking a longer range view of this and preparing for that, putting a plan together versus saying, okay, we're going to be cool by November. Like, who said that? There's no commitment or guarantee to that. Now, with a house, if you can refinance, if you own one and get a lower interest rate, by all means, you should. You're going to have to be patient, though, because banks are super, super, super backed up right now. Between all the SBA loans and all these refis and all that, they are struggling to keep up. Again, same thing about buying a house right now. It's funny that how many purchases are still happening. It's interesting to me.
yes.
But again, if you feel confident in your job security, because getting a mortgage just means I feel confident that I can pay it back. That's all that means. That I feel okay, and that's what the bank. Now I'm assuming the banks probably are looking very closely at your ability to pay back right now, versus you just being like, okay, whatever, let me just run out here, let me see what I can do. But I think there's some professions that have a tremendous amount of job security right now.
Yeah.
They will continue to get paid every 2 weeks and be winning. So again, it's just a matter of, the only thing is home values haven't begun to decrease yet. I'm looking for a deal. I want to move too, but I need for home values to come down some. And they haven't in the Atlanta area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's May right now. So I know some people are going to see this later or years
Right.
later. So things are obviously going to change. But just for the sake of right now, it's May 2020.
Right.
Janai saying she waiting until it goes a little bit lower.
Yeah, I want values to come down a little bit, for sure.
Okay. We're going to move into starting a business right now because there are some super creative people that are coming up with some dope stuff right now at home. And we know that ideas can be birthed out of just figuring it out. But what
Right,
are some good practices? Because again, people are in a lot of different financial situations. There are some people who have lost their jobs, so they're like, well, hey, might as well. There's some people
right,
who still have their jobs and they're like, well, I don't know if I'm essential enough. I need to start my business. And then there are some people who are still like, the moment this pops off, I'm quitting my
my
job.
dad.
I
Right,
am essential and I'm tired of being essential. So,
right.
what are just some good tips across the board for people who are trying to start their jobs right now? Is there a certain savings plan we need to be on? Do we need to get our credit together? Or should we just jump out there and be like, I'm doing it?
The main thing that I like to tell business owners, first of all, as an entrepreneur, like, if you don't have permission to go for it now, then I don't know when you're gonna get permission. Like, there is no better time. And all of this, you can't go here, you can't. I think we have more freedom now than we've ever had, because now you can move how you want to move and you don't have to apologize for that.
Right.
You can make decisions in a different way. So I'm excited for current entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs. But again, it's just remember that it's all about the basics. Keep your business and personal financial life separate. Even if it's two personal accounts, just live out of one and run your business out of the other one. And when you need money personally out of your business, because of course you will,
Right.
transfer money out of your business account to your personal account. Please don't pay your gas bill and your rent and all this random household stuff out of your business account. Separation is key because you want to know how your business is actually doing. So that's where I see people commingling. They have no idea what's going on. So that's just kind of a basic business, really, really 101. And same thing, get in the habit, like we talked about earlier, get in the habit from day one of saving. Have a separate business savings account. Me, you, and Willie, we talked about this before. That's the one thing I wish I would have done when I started my business, to say every time I get paid off the top, not after I pay bills, off the top, I'm gonna save 1%, 2%, whatever that is. And go ahead and do that, because I promise you, your business will need money to expand, grow, update your website, buy equipment, whatever you want to do. How dope it is when you have cash available and you don't have to go borrow, or you know what I mean? That's amazing to me. And we are not in the mindset of doing that. It's funny, my grandfather did not believe in borrowing money. And so he paid for everything that he had. And so even like the house that my family grew up in, he bought the land first. Then he later had saved the money and then built the house. You know what I mean? And whenever he bought a car, he paid for it. And so honestly, I thought that was just normal. And then as I got older, I'm like, people, wait a minute. People do what? But I understand why he did that, because you think of the freedom that that gives you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you're like, because it's that getting up every month. Okay, okay, okay. Now I got to pay this. I got to pay this. Okay, it's May. All right, June. Now I got to do this. And that's exhausting. That's why a lot of people, you hear the statistics, why 80% of businesses close in the first 5 years. People are exhausted.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't have good ideas. You know what I mean? It's not that they're not working hard, but people have not prepared. Because what I will promise you, and you and I both know this as entrepreneurs, things cost more than what you thought,
Mhm.
and it can take longer than what you planned.
Absolutely.
Well, when it costs more and it's going to take longer, how are you going to survive? Please tell me. Because in our heads, we all think we're going to win, we're going to come out the gate, and yeah. And for some of us, that happens, and for some of us, that does not happen. So you want to make sure you can sustain your life and your livelihood. So I also tell entrepreneurs, if you have time for a season of preparation, of course it's a good idea to, reduce any debt. Get your household in order. So that way you can withstand some of the bumps, because I promise you, typically there are some bumps that are going to happen. It did. Um, it probably took me about 4 years before I got in a really good rhythm. And it wasn't that I was making $0 before, but I was still like feeling it. Well, I finally, for my year 4, year 5 is when I was able to kind of be like, okay,
Breathe a little.
whew, okay, I can breathe a little bit. But it literally took that long. Well, if you don't have your stuff together, Crystal, you're not gonna make it 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why people with great ideas don't make it, because they're living their life, a certain way. The other thing too, I tell business owners, when you begin to win, do not up, do not change your lifestyle, because that's automatic. You begin to win. Okay, I want to drive this. I want to do this. I mean, clearly you ain't going nowhere right now. I want to go here. I want
But
to
you
do.
want to see it parked outside, though.
You at least, and all I'm saying to you is you can. I'm not. I don't want anybody to be deprived, but save first. Take care of that first, and then I promise you, it's different to have that car when you're not worried and
Right.
wondering how you're gonna make that car note. Because as you begin to make money and you begin to, your lifestyle goes up, up, and up. You got to work harder just to keep up with that.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting, and it can impact your business, how it can grow and what it can do.
Yes.
Yeah. So just hold tight, and then decide when you can upgrade. It's not saying you got to hold tight forever. You got to hold tight. But yeah, plan that out to say, okay, when I get to this dollar amount, then I can do this.
Right.
When I reach this goal, then I can do that. Because obviously you want to reward yourself too.
Right. So,
Yeah.
any last just tips that you have for us, just to say, you know what, here's where we are. This is
Right.
what I want you to do. And then I'm going to stop, because we could go on and on and on about all kinds of
Okay.
stuff. You could just tell us
So,
how we can find you and stuff.
okay. So this is what I'm suggesting to people. Again, whoever's watching this later, again, we're in May 2020. So we are still in the throe of the coronavirus. And I need people to be prepared if it takes longer, because I want people to be hopeful that we can get back to normal. But I need you to be prepared um, emotionally. I need you to be prepared mentally, and I need you to be prepared financially. And they're all kind of connected, because if we have this expectation, oh shoot, by August we'll be back, and August comes and we're not back, then people feel like crap. You know what? And you have not planned emotionally, you have not planned mentally or financially, like, man, this thing could be going on for a minute. And like I said, if you plan that way, if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't take that long, then you win it. But if it does take that long, then again, you can pull that plan off the shelf. And then the other thing that I'm suggesting that people do is run some different scenarios. And what I mean by that, this is very, very, very simple math. So let's assume you make $60,000 a year. Let's say your income cuts down to 50. Maybe your income gets cut down to 40. Maybe your income gets cut in half to 30. How are you going to adjust? Because guess what? You can run those scenarios and make those decisions now. You don't have to wait for your income to get cut. And so to me, that gives you some peace, whether you have a regular job or you own your own business, because you can say, oh, if my income gets cut in half, okay, I'm going to do this if this situation happens. And now you're not making decisions under stress or duress. And that's what we have to do. And again, we're talking about, this is simple addition. There is no calculus here. There is no geometry here. We're talking about simple addition and subtraction here. but it will give you peace to say, okay, if this happens as a family, we're going to adjust this way. If this happens in my business, we'll adjust this way. And that's what I did for my own business. I'm like, okay, if we don't generate any more revenue this year, what does that look
What
like
does
for
that look
us?
like? Right.
Yeah. And then, and this, it's just called modeling. It's called financial modeling. And when we do that, you're not going to feel depressed. You will feel empowered because you'll know if this happens, we're not saying we're trying to speak this into existence, but if this happens, who knew we were going to be here with all this going on, right?
Could have guessed. I said that too. I'm like, I never would have guessed in a million years
What?
I would be making masks. I don't make no masks. I make shirts.
What, who needs a mask for what? Like, what we doing? Like, who wears a mask?
Yes.
It's crazy. But what I'm saying is, these are unprecedented times, so it calls for unprecedented behavior. So I need people to do that. And my last thing as we wrap up, I need you to have a set day and time weekly where you focus on your finances. Pay your bills, check your balances, run these different models or simulations, um, whatever. Have your list, day and time. It don't need to be a whole day. It could be an hour. No phone, no social media, no call, no nothing, no TV. Where you focus on that, I promise you, it will change your entire life when you begin to do that. As a family, y'all do that. You know what I mean? As a couple, you by yourself or your business, but you have to. It's just like working out, Crystal. You can't go to the gym like every 3 months and think you're gonna be the baddest chick in the game.
Right.
I promise you it ain't gonna happen. But if you go regularly, you're gonna be like, oh, I think I'm
I see
cute.
a little progress. I see a little
Oh,
ab.
what we doing? And it's the same thing with money. So I need people to build that up. So if people have any questions, please reach out to me at Jini, JiniThornton. It is not Jini, it is Jini.
Because I know people are gonna reach out to me like, ooh, how I talk to Jenny. It's just
Jini.
I.
It looks like Jenny, but it is not. It is Jini, but at Jini Thornton. But please, yeah, reach out to me. But let's all stay healthy and let's all be very intentional about our finances and get our stuff in order right now. Like it's time to win.